It doesn't matter if it's a Saturday night, a Tuesday night, a Saturday morning. That tune still bangs.
Oh, it does. It gets you ready. If you're not ready, it gets you ready.
Indeed. Welcome everyone to to a Saturday night special edition of No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. My name is Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of the hosts. To my right is a man who definitely did not have a breakdown in the car line for his appointment this morning, Dustin Henry. Dustin, how are we doing today?
Oh, the person in front of me did, and it was crazy, man. I'm doing all right. I got a lot of reading done at the. I had to get tires replaced. I got 50,000 miles out of my first set, so can't complain about that. Had to get new tires though. It snowed the other day, and they were pretty bad. So. And I need to get my inspection done, so I did all that. Unfortunately, the only appointment I could book was early in the morning, and I just had a feeling. Call me Kirk Van Houten, because I just had a feeling that I wasn't going to be able to make the morning show. So I appreciate you, as always, being flexible with me. And here we are. But I'm ready to go. You said you were grabbing a beer, so I got a beer.
Oh yeah, we'll talk
And
about our beers.
holiday season, this is my
What?
festive Frost Buddy. I bought a
Nice.
Frost Buddy. These things are the truth. Frost
Man.
Buddy, if you're listening, reach out. Maybe we could make some sort of sponsorship deal. Love to evangelize your product because it's working great so far.
Yeah.
How are you?
Doing all right. We had to take tag along. I mentioned this on Tuesday's show. We had to bring tag along to the vet on Sunday and on Tuesday, and again this afternoon. So we're still figuring his issues out. But right now, I think we're getting them figured out as we go along. Some cats are hard to figure out because they kind of go at their own speed. So they're not like dogs, where sometimes they're easy to figure out.
Yeah.
Cats are a particular species. So we're getting some things figured out, and as we go along with this new thing. So, but he's in good shape. Great hands. The Upstate Veterinary Clinic in Latham, New York. They are awesome, 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 awesome people. And I gotta give a lot of love to them because they've been doing such a great work with my cat. So very happy that he's in the shape that they're able to help him get back into shape, get back into being his regular self again. So
Yes.
that's what we're hoping from here on out is that he'll be for as long as he's with us. He's 13 years old, going on 14. He's going to be 14 in April, and we're blessed to have him as long as we can have him. But thank you for joining us on No Credentials Required. It's a Saturday night special. We're on our YouTube page, which will be replayed tomorrow on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel. We're on Facebook and we're on the Belly Up Sports Twitter channel today. So thank you tonight, actually. So thank you for joining us. If you're tuning in between football games, or if you're an Alabama fan, BYU fan, although they don't really drink, Miami of Ohio fan, if you want to drink or Troy University or North Texas, you're welcome to drown your sorrows in some beer with us. So we'll talk about which beers we're drinking in just a moment. But before we do that, just want to remind everyone to please follow us on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Just search for No Credentials Required. You can also check out our other podcast and written content at bellyupsports.com. On the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, and our host, which is Podbean, Freshly Brewed Podcasts. And hit that notification bell on our Twitter and on our YouTube so you know when live shows go up, when show clips go up. I posted a clip from Tuesday's episode where I talked about Lane Kiffin and how things need to change in NCAA football with both players and coaches and how they're dealt with. And you can also get notified on just general announcements altogether. And rate, review, comment. A 5-star rating would be helpful. A review would be helpful on platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, and Podbean. You can also and Podbean. You can leave a rating and a review on there. Also on Good Pods and on Spotify. You can leave a comment. You can also leave a comment below on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel. And we want to hear from you. What do you think? What do you think of Thursday night's game? What do you think? What do you think about your team's chances on Sunday in Week 14, or on Monday, if so be it? Or if your team has a bye week, say bye. I guess I don't know. Leave bye in the comments section.
Is this the last bye week? I think it is.
I believe this week is the last of the bye weeks. Yes, because we go to Saturday. Because we start going to Saturday games soon. I think.
I do enjoy the Saturday games. I might have to get the guys together for a Saturday game, Ryan. I might have to do it.
All right. So we are a live show usually on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, but we had some things going on today. Dustin had his morning appointment. I had to bring Ken along to the vet. And we're also live on Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. All things NFL and a little bit of other sports as well when we do our favorite athletes to wear a specific number. Today's number 8. Tonight is number 89. So we both got home. Excuse me. Oh, my goodness. I don't know where that crept up from. We're going to talk about our favorite number 89s tonight. But again, we are a live show usually on Tuesdays and Saturdays. Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern. We got a Saturday night special tonight. We got some comments in the comment section already, but Dustin, even it's Saturday night, but I love this tune. How about you?
Oh, it's Saturday night and the feeling's right. It's chime time.
All right, we got some comments in the comment section already. Julie from Michigan saying hello, gentlemen. She also asked, did I miss the Lions talk? No. We're just doing our introductory banter. And Kevin, your co-host from Seahawks Sessions and from Belly Up Fantasy Sports saying, smile, gentlemen, it's Saturday night. Indeed it is, Kevin. Indeed it is. All right, we're going to talk about Thursday night's game. Julie, you're listening now. The Lions overpowered Dallas Cowboys 44-30 in a penalty-filled game. Man, it got ugly at times in this game. Even though there was some great football being played, it was still kind of ugly in some points. And I'll have my co-host give me his thoughts about Thursday night's game.
Well, as is the case with most Thursday nights this year, I usually have standing plans most Thursdays, so I'm not able...
Shoot, I forgot to ask, what beer are you drinking?
Oh, I am drinking. You brought this to my house, sir. The Mr. Twisty's beer that you brought.
Hey, Mr. Softy.
The Mr. Softy. That's what it was. I don't know where I came up with Mr. Twisty. Yeah, I can't read the can. That's the only downside of putting it in the frost, buddy. Yep. I can't read the can.
Yep.
But my universal can cooler is keeping it nice and cold. It's a nice stout. I like this thing. This is a nice collaboration. But that's what I'm drinking. As we're heading into colder weather, I thought about grabbing some bourbon for this show, but I might have one of those after the show.
Yeah, go ahead.
But what are you drinking, sir?
So I thought about getting the festive slacks from Bolton Landing. It's a little bit of a stronger Belgian ale.
Okay.
And I don't want to be too tipsy for this program, so I went with a 603 New Hampshire beer, Winnie Amber Ale. It's delightful. It's one of their staple beers at 603 Brewing in Londonderry, New Hampshire, which is basically right. I mean, this brewery is right around the corner from where my brother Jeremy lives. Mm-hmm. So, but let's get to it. Cheers, everybody. If you're watching, if you're drinking along, cheers, everyone. But Dustin, continue to give your thoughts about this game. Again, Thursday Night Football. Lions beat the Cowboys 44-30 in a, at times, spotty affair.
Yes. But I will say this game. Now, I didn't get to catch the full thing because, as I was starting to say, I usually have standing plans most Thursdays. Now, I make exceptions. If the Seahawks are playing, I got to watch Thursday Night Football. Or if it's a game that I really feel strongly about, I'll try to move my plans to another day. But most times I miss the Thursday games and I either rewatch on Friday or I catch up with the highlights. And this was no different, but I had no idea what to expect coming into this game. The Dallas's defense, don't look now, but those trades have worked. Say what you want about Jerry. Those trades worked. Their defense had been much better as of late, specifically against the run. I guess Quinnen Williams is that good, huh? I mean, Ryan knows more than most. But the Lions were coming off of that loss to the Packers and a game where they looked pretty sloppy against the Giants. So I had no idea what to expect for this game. And it started off, both teams opened it up with a pair of field goals. And then Detroit scored after a creative end around to Jameson Williams. After that, he was at about the 4, if I remember, and it was capped off with a TD run by Jahmyr Gibbs, which we'll get to him later. But the Lions were able to hold Dallas to another field goal after sacking Dak. Early in this game, they were getting some pressure on Dak. Pressure on Dak would be a problem for Dallas at times during this one. And Jake Ferguson's fumble halted a Dallas drive after a big gain by CeeDee Lamb. Jack Campbell had a great play to punch it out. The Detroit defense really was the difference in this one because they were able to generate a few Dak Prescott turnovers. He threw 2 interceptions in this game, and there's this aforementioned fumble, which stalled a good Dallas drive. CD kind of, after all the talk about is George Pickens the number 1 wideout in Dallas, CD kind of reemerged as the number 1 in this game. He said, "Hey, remember me?" He had 121 yards, I think, on 6 receptions. So he got huge chunk plays. But
he also left the game in the third quarter with a concussion.
But yeah, we're gonna have to see how that pans out. But the punch out play by Campbell that led to a touchdown by Montgomery. And then Dallas responds with yet another field goal. This would ultimately cost them. They were not able to score their first TD of the game until 10:41 in the third. It was a rushing touchdown by Javonte Williams. Sorry, I knew I was going to do that. There's too many J. Williams people in this game. Dallas would be able to make a game of it, eventually scoring a TD and then converting on a 2-point attempt to get within 3. But all after that, Detroit's defense was the difference maker, and they did the bend but don't break thing. They limited Dallas. Aubrey had 4 field goals in this game. If any one of those was a touchdown, this game would have been closer. But the Detroit offense played great because even though, credit to Dallas, they bottled up Jahmyr Gibbs to a degree. Despite the touchdowns, he had 3 touchdowns, great for my fantasy team, but he got bottled up yardage wise in this game rushing. But as a receiver, he was very effective. Both backs made some big catches out of the backfield as receivers, but Montgomery kind of picked it up. He had 60-ish yards, I think 63 yards in this game off of 6 carries. So he averaged 10 yards per carry. That's pretty good. So they shut down Gibbs, and Montgomery hurt him. Montgomery kind of reemerged in this game. And also, we got to talk about it. Amon-Ra got involved in this game as well, but I think Jameson Williams, his role in this offense, especially since Dan Campbell took over the play calling, his role is expanding, and it's continuing to expand. And I don't think it's going to change. I think even with Amon-Ra back in there, they've figured out how to use Jameson now. It's taken a couple of years, but they've figured it out.
Yeah, he's a squirrely route runner.
Yes.
I saw the one route that he took where he just basically did an out and then just cut the brakes, no pun intended, with their challenge. But he stopped on a dime and came back to the ball and caught the ball, and it was a first down. So he's squirrely. His patterns are a bit squirrely, but like when he gets on, he's on. And yeah, Amon St. Brown was involved in this game quite a bit as well. Yeah, and Jahmyr Gibbs still had 3 touchdowns running, even though he didn't have much on the ground. Still scored from a couple of yards from inside the 5 3 times.
Yeah,
that's what you need. That's what you need to do. You need to finish drives in this league, and the Lions are adept at doing that. As for my thoughts on this game, I usually go to work, then I don't watch much of the first half of the game, but I have every Friday off this month,
nice.
Which is pretty nice. So I'll try to watch as much of the game as I can. I lasted into the fourth quarter, after Dallas got within 3. So, but it was an entertaining game to watch. As maddening at times. I'll get to the penalties in just a moment. We've talked about the importance of the running back position on this program many a time. We talked about Bijan Robinson being a big part of the Falcons. We talked about Jonathan Taylor ad nauseum being a big part of why the Colts are so good offensively. Now we got to give our flowers to Jahmyr Gibbs and to David Montgomery.
Yeah.
And they're both, I mean, I would argue that Jahmyr Gibbs is more valuable to this team than any running back in the league is to their team. Like you talk about you talk about the Jonathan Taylor, you talk about the Bijan Robinsons, you talk about the James Cooks, and to a lesser extent, Breece Hall. Yeah. How important they're out to the offenses. Jahmyr Gibbs is the same way. And I'm old enough to remember, and again, we have another, Dustin, you mentioned that you want to see running backs get mentioned in consideration for league MVP. I agree because right now it's basically a glorified quarterback award, like the Heisman is in college football. No, you got to put running backs into consideration. Jahmyr Gibbs should be in consideration for MVP. We talk about week to week. We talked about back in October when Bijan Robinson ran all over the Bills. I said he could potentially be an MVP candidate. We talked about Jonathan Taylor and the season he's had. Although I will say the last couple of weeks have been kind of rough for him.
Yeah.
But he still got MVP numbers. Let's throw Jahmyr Gibbs onto that pile for MVP. And I'm old enough to remember, by the way, I'm old enough to remember when the Lions picked him where they did in the 2021 draft or 2021 and 2022. I forgot which draft he was drafted. I think it was 2022.
Let me look it up while you expound.
Yeah, but I remember he had a lot of critics saying that Jahmyr Gibbs was a stretch where they picked him. I think it was 11th or 12th overall in either 2021 or 2022.
It said Gibbs was selected by the Lions in the first round of the 2023 draft.
Oh, 2020. Oh,
man, where does the time go?
I know. And he started to become such an important part of that Lions offense. That's why they went to the NFC Championship in 2023. That's why they won 15 games in 2024. And this year, and Julie, thank you very much. He was 12th. I thought he was like 11th or 12th, but he played at Alabama. Made in Bama, as our friend Desi would say. By the way, Desi, where you at? Probably crying her beer from the Alabama loss.
Well, we kept her. The Seahawks sessions was a marathon last night, and she was there for that one. So,
but I remember people calling it a stretch when they drafted him 12th overall in 2023, and look at him now.
Yeah.
But back to the game, both offenses had very good games. Dak Prescott, Jared Goff both had 300-plus yard games. Each team had at least 90 yards rushing. I think the Cowboys had 98 or 96, and the Lions had over 100 yards rushing. But the Lions defense, as you mentioned, Dustin, they made the difference in this game. 3 turnovers forced. And those 3 turnovers led to 14 points. That last turnover, the interception at the end by DJ Reed, that was with just over a minute left in the game. That didn't lead to points. It didn't matter at that point. They're up 13. But Jake Ferguson's fumble, thanks to Jack Campbell's punch out, recovered by his teammate, led to David Montgomery's touchdown. First play of the second half, Derek Barnes picks off Dak. They get inside the 20. It leads to Goff's TD pass to Tay Slaw. I thought it was Amon-Ra St. Brown, but it was actually Isaac Tay Slaw, rookie out of Arkansas. DJ Reed, again, interception with 1:18 remaining. That sealed the fate. But we got to talk about these penalties. This is an ugly. I mean, at times the game looked so much fun. The game looked every bit of a game that you thought was going to be between both teams. Penalties. There were 22 total penalties in this game. 15 were accepted. 7 were committed by Dallas. 8 were committed by Detroit. And Kirk Herbstreit, he was kind of semi-joking during the game. I don't know if you caught that comment or not, Dustin, but he was semi-joking saying, well, no, we talk about all these Thursday games. These two teams played on a Thursday a week ago.
Yeah. They had a full week's rest.
They have full week's rest. What? Don't make excuses as to why you didn't have a good game on a short week when you didn't have a short week. But yeah, at times it looked great. Yeah, the game was fun, but at times it just looked really sloppy. And I've seen the comments on social media. Oh, the referees had it for the Lions in this game, and da da da. It's like, guys, come on. Like, can we stop making?
No.
Can we stop saying the NFL is playing favorites with certain teams in certain markets? We got to end that thing. And by the way, the Lions still haven't lost consecutive back-to-back games since October 2022.
That's impressive. The only questionable call that I saw to me was one that Brian Schottenheimer absolutely lost his mind on when the Cowboys got called for offensive pass interference. I didn't see the offensive pass interference in that one, but I'm not a ref.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, I agree with you, Ryan. This game, this was not a clean affair. It just had a sloppy feel to it, but it was fun, and it was nice to see. At least for me, it was nice to see the Lions rebound a little bit. Jared Goff was crisp in this one, and I'm going to have to eat a little crow because I loudly criticized Jordan Love for his interceptions, and I thought that the Packers gave him too much money. Time will tell on this, but and this surprised a lot of people, including you. I said regular season, give me Dak over Jordan Love, but Dak, he does always seem to. Now, we all know he does it in the postseason, but even in the regular season, he's thrown some picks this year. When the Cowboys have a chance, he just throws these ill-timed picks. So I gotta, if I'm gonna criticize Jordan Love for it, which he hasn't done this year, he's really cut down on that. I got to give him credit for that. I gotta say to Dak, you got to clean those up. You can't be doing that with, especially. I mean, it's tough to bring this kind of stuff into it, but with the amount of money that you are paid, you got to be clean those interceptions up.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I remember I talked about this on last Saturday's show when Tony Romo was mentioning after the Dallas Cowboys beat the Chiefs that they have a chance to run the table because they have an easier schedule down the stretch. Not so easy now because their playoff chances took a big hit after this loss on Thursday night. Comments in the comment section here. Kevin saying that the great football passed George Pickens by.
Oh man, Sherman and Pickens getting into it on social media. I saw some of that.
Oh boy. Julie continuing her love for the Lions. Big day for the Lions defense, although Brian Branch is out for the season. Yeah, he's got a torn Achilles, which is unfortunate. So they gotta probably go shopping on waivers, or we'll see if they can have a practice squad player come up and play well like they did last year.
Yeah.
Julie saying my Lemons friends and I called Jamison Waymo because of his speed. He's a weapon. Indeed he is. Jahmyr Gibbs. She also says Jahmyr Gibbs is very close to breaking Barry Sanders' single season TD record.
Oh man, I did not know that.
Yeah.
But 3 TDs last night with his yardage total. I was talking about it with Kevin on Seahawks Sessions. I said, you know what it reminds me of, Ryan, and you'll remember this game, is that Travis Kelce game from a couple of years ago where he had like 3 TDs and like 10 total receiving yards or something like that. It's crazy.
Wonko saying, sorry I'm late. Hey, glad you made it, Wonko. We appreciate you. And Julie corrected me in the pronunciation of the Isaac Tesla's name. It's like the car brand, Ryan, Tesla. So it's Isaac Tesla.
It's also Marcus Mariota.
Oh God. Tyrod Taylor.
I had to do it.
Oh, goodness. All right, we're going to take our network mandated commercial break, and we're going to do so by telling you about our friends at Royal Retros, the king of throwbacks. Remember when jerseys were bold, mustaches were glorious, and shorts were way too short? Good news. You can bring all that retro magic back, minus the chafing, with Royal Retros. They got vintage style football, basketball, and hockey gear that screams, I was born in the wrong era, but I look amazing. Rock a jersey or a t-shirt that makes you, or a sweatshirt that makes people say, wait, is that from the 1980s? Yes, it is. And you look fantastic. Head over to royalretros.com, use promo code CREDHEAD at checkout for 10% off your order, plus free shipping for any order over $100. That's CREDHEAD, like a fan of our show, with excellent taste in throwbacks. Royal Retros, the king of throwbacks. And underneath this quarter zip, I am wearing my New York Yankees AAFC t-shirt from the 1940s. So
wow.
So it's a great sweat. It's a great t-shirt. Lots of cool designs, lots of retro designs. If you love retro, if you love retro style, especially the sports, and if you're into retro aesthetics in the sports realm, go to Royal Retros. Check out their website. Use our promo code CREDHEAD at checkout. Get 10% off your order. And it ships to your door pretty quickly. So although Christmas being what it is, it might be a little bit late to coming to your door, but they got lots of great jerseys, lots of t-shirts, lots of sweatshirts, lots of great gear, that will make people just kind of give you a second look and ask you where they get that where they get that shirt. You can tell them Royal Retros sent you. And thanks to Royal Retros for being a part of No Credentials Required. All right, let's talk about the most intriguing matchups of Week 14 in the NFL. I'm going to start off here with the Texans and the Chiefs, the Sunday night matchup. It's the rematch of last year's divisional playoff, which saw a closer game than what many people expected. And this is going to be another banger of a defensive game. I believe so. We've talked about the Texans defense on this program. We've lauded it over the last month, as well as other podcasts on our network. But it deserves to be after winning 7 of their last 9 following an 0-3 start. And it's because of the Texans defense. They've tightened up. They're one of the best units in the NFL. I believe they're number 1 in yardage allowed per game in total defense. So they're number 1 in that realm. The X factor will be CJ Stroud. This is going to be a revenge game for him from last year's playoffs. He was sacked 8 times in that divisional playoffs as the Chiefs pulled away in the fourth quarter of that game. On the other side of the ball, the Chiefs are a desperate team. They're looking for a win to stay in the hunt for the last wild card spot in the AFC. And this is the first game in a wicked gauntlet for the Chiefs. Actually, I'd argue it's the second game of a wicked gauntlet that includes future opponents such as the Los Angeles Chargers and the Denver Broncos at home. Both games are at home. One against the Denver Broncos is on Christmas night, and another loss, it would set them back tremendously. It was actually pretty significantly, because this is your 6th time reigning defending. I'm sorry, they've been in the AFC Championship the last 6 years in a row.
Yeah,
and for them to miss the playoffs after that much domination for the Chiefs, it would be hiccup you could argue it's a hiccup on the road, but at the same time, for everybody else, you're like, hey, the Chiefs are out of it. It's an easy road to the Super Bowl. But this is not going to be an easy game for the Texans. Also not going to be an easy game for the Chiefs. So that's my most intriguing matchup for Week 14. What about yours, Dustin? What's your most intriguing matchup?
Well, I think I'm going to surprise some people, and it's fitting that Wonko's here for this one. And I might surprise you, Ryan, but I have my eye on one game, and I just have a feeling about it, although I did not have the courage to pick it.
It's Jets Dolphins.
No, it is not quite that one. It is not quite that one. The game is Bills versus Bengals. Okay.
Hey.
Joe Burrow's return clearly inspired and raised the level of play of the entire Bengals team last week on Thanksgiving. That defense played unquestionably the best game of its season. That deplorable defense, it's been the worst unit in the NFL, but they showed up on Thanksgiving. You cannot argue that. So now it leads me to question, can they keep that going to any degree? Which version of the Bengals defense will show up? With Burrow under center, the Bengals offense have the tools to keep up with anyone. The Bills played well against the Steelers last week, but before the Joey Bosa fumble recovery TD, the Bills kind of looked sluggish, and that game was a sloppy game. That Bosa fumble and recovery really shifted the tide of that game. And then the Bills got on track, and Cook did what he does, and Allen did what he does, and everything worked out. But how much longer can the Bills keep that going? We've talked about it ad nauseum. Josh Allen is going to do what he does. James Cook, he's going to do what he does. But somebody else has got to step up for the Buffalo Bills offensively, and their defense at times. Their defense dealt with a lot of injuries. People have come back. Some pieces that they've flashed at times. They've looked okay, but the Bills, the Bills, I don't know what version of the Bills is going to show up. If it's the version that lost to Atlanta or Houston or Miami, they could be in some trouble. So I am very intrigued about this game because these two teams, I think it's going to be closer than people think. And I think it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a good one. And I'm curious to see if the Bengals can complete, I say complete, but they can duplicate their Thanksgiving night upset of the Ravens. So it's definitely an intriguing matchup to watch. And we're going to move on to our friends and family game of the week. Dustin, I'll have you start. Which game do you not have your eye on for this week in the NFL?
Oh man, I feel so bad because I keep feeling like I keep picking some of the same teams, but I'm going Titans versus the Browns. Sorry, Titans fans. I went back to this well because I didn't want to pick the Raiders again. I almost did it. But both of these offense struggle to get things going at times, especially the Titans. And sorry, Addison. Shout out to you if you're listening and or watching. But you're the only Titans fan I know. And the Browns offense has sputtered itself many times this year, whether it's Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Gabriel under center. Okay, it hasn't been that great. The best quarterback who was playing for their offense now resides in Cincinnati. But their defense, the Browns defense, should be good enough to smother a Titans team that no one wants to remember.
No, this Titans team is definitely one for the ages in terms of awful teams. I mean, their defense is halfway decent, but their offense is just ugh.
Yeah, I understand they're rebuilding, but Ryan, sometimes we talk about an owner that cares versus an owner that doesn't care. If I'm a Titans fan, I got to start questioning ownership and just being like, what are you trying to do with this team? I think, is it still the Adams family that owns?
Amy, I forget her name. Her last name is she's Bud Adams' daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Amy Adams Strunk? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think Strunk is right. That sounds familiar to me.
Yep, Amy Adams Strunk.
Okay, yep. You were looking it up. You're faster than me.
Yeah, that's right. My friends and family game of week 14. I almost picked the Raiders too, but that would have been kind of old hat. I didn't quite pick Dolphins Jets because there's some intrigue to that game. The Jets are wearing their rivalry uniforms, so it looked kind of to me. Mm-hmm. But their field layout is it's cooking. It's cooking. Their end zones look awesome, by the way. Still, take a look at that if we get a chance. Actually, we'll probably see it tomorrow on Red Zone.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be a Spiro DD special though. So
that might be
Browns. That might be Browns Titans.
Yeah.
But I actually went with, and sorry, friend of the show, Drew Willingham. I'm sorry to say it. I went with Vikings Commanders. Jaden Daniels will start this week for the Commanders. About a month after his awful, ugly elbow injury, dislocated elbow he suffered on Sunday Night Football. Or was it Monday Night Football? I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Sunday.
Yeah, it was a primetime game.
It was a primetime game. I just can't remember what it was. But it's gonna be a terrible game, and I'm sure. Oh, dang it. Spiro Dides is on the Jets call tomorrow.
Oh, man. It's tough.
Win more, Jets. I'm sick of listening to him and his lack of inflection and his touchdown.
I feel like you always had a silent disdain for him, but then I I pointed out the touchdown, and it's kicked down the door. You feel about him how I feel now, Ryan.
And it sucks that the one of the two of the higher scoring games of the season, the Bengals and the Jets, and the Bengals and the Browns, he was the one in the call.
Yeah.
That's like, ew, gross. Anywho, Commanders Vikings. Jaden Daniels returns for the Commanders. It's looking like JJ McCarthy is going to start for the Vikings, so we'll get 9 back. Fantastic. He's a full participant at practice on Wednesday and Thursday. I presume he was also a full participant in practice on Friday because the Max Brosmer experience was. But all in all, this was supposed to be a game that was kind of a watch game this year, considering what happened last year with both teams. But now week 14 with both teams highly disappointing seasons. This is just a game for evaluation and draft positioning. And if we go to tankathon.com, currently Washington is in the 6th position and Minnesota is in the 11th position for the draft right now. So depending on who wins and who loses, one team's going to keep rising in the draft standings. The other one's going to be sinking. So Wonko saying they're ooky and they're spooky. The Adams family. Julie saying that she's in the car with her fiance. He's listening to. Hi, Hank. Thanks for listening. Appreciate you both. All right, players to watch in week 14. And I'm just going to come out and play this sound because this one guy I'm looking for.
Can't have him locked up. He's important to the defense.
I'm looking to our tribal chief, Wiesel Hefe.
Yeah.
I've got my eye on Myles Garrett because he is important to the Browns defense. He's 3.5 sacks away from the single season record. And he's facing, as my co-host mentioned, what is arguably the thinnest offensive line in the NFL in the Tennessee Titans. Whoever's at quarterback, whether it be Cam Ward or whoever's backup, I can't remember who his backup is. Whoever's back in the backfield for the Tennessee Titans, they're getting sacked. Cam Ward's been sacked the most times this season in the NFL. Poor guy, he's a rookie. Hopefully, doesn't develop happy feet like Justin Fields did and ruin his career. But Myles Garrett's one to look at. On offense, I got my eye on Matthew Stafford. Again, it's chalk going to focus on a quarterback, but I'm kind of wondering, he's facing the Cardinals. The Cardinals are a tougher defense than what a lot of people give them credit for. They gave the Buccaneers a tough time last week. Granted that the Buccaneers were missing a lot of their elite offensive personnel. Although I hear Mike Evans is close to possibly being back for the Buccaneers for the last month of the season.
That would be a huge boost. And it seems like Godwin's getting some of the rust off. He's slowly starting to be integrated back in. So,
yeah. But I've got my eye on Matthew Stafford. I want to see if he bounces back from that 2-interception performance against the Carolina Panthers. One of them was brought back for a pick 6 by Mike Jackson. But I want to see how he performs. Again, the Cardinals defense is better than a lot of people expected. And I understand why some people had them as a dark horse playoff contender, but I believe they have been officially eliminated from the playoffs as of last week. So that's who I got my eye on. And Julie saying, Hank says hi. Hi, Hank. Thanks for listening, pal. What about you, Dustin? Who do you got your eye on in week 14?
Well, first of all, Ryan, you know why the Rams lost last week is because that Carolina defense is intense. But
I gotta find that video and play it.
Yeah, but also the Titans' backup QB for anybody interested is Brandon Allen. So there you go for that. But I will not be watching Mr. Brandon Allen this week, especially if he's riding the bench as the backup, making more money than I'll ever make in my entire life. So shout out to you, Mr. Allen. That was not a slight. But it's another week where I have my eye on a QB. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry. But it's Lamar Jackson. I mean, we've talked about the Ravens a lot on this program, and to me, there is no arguing that it has been a down year for Lamar Jackson, especially by his standards. He has not run the ball at all. I mentioned it. I think he's still hurt. I don't think he's fully recovered, but he has 264 rushing yards for the season. He is averaging 29.3 yards a game rushing per StatMuse. But here's the thing, 70 of his 264-yard total came in week 1. So he's not really rushing at all, which is a huge dimension to his game. And as a result, the Ravens have not looked the same. They've also had some confusing play calling. I don't know why they don't use Derrick Henry in certain situations. But I'll be watching Lamar very closely. And then the second thing that I'll be watching is not necessarily a player, but it's the Eagles. I'm watching the whole team. How will they look Monday night? Will they be able to get anything going after and bounce back after blowing a big lead against Dallas? And then let's call it what it was. They got trampled by the Bears on that Black Friday game. The Eagles look out of sorts right now, and they look like a car that might break down in the lot like the one did at my appointment today. So I'll be watching them.
So Wonko chiming in. I was going to break this out in the last segment, but I guess we got to get it done now. Where is it? Homer alert! Wonko says he'll be watching Nick Imamori. And he quotes Ernest Jones, the fourth. He's a freak, man.
Yeah, Ernest Jones, I saw that. He said you can't be out there 6'3" and 200 some odd pounds and doing the things that he's doing. I, as a Seahawk fan, man, I can't wait to see what Nick does as his career progresses. And even if you're not a Seahawk fan, if you're a fan of defense, check out Nick Imamori, because I think he's only going to get better from here.
All right. So those are our players to watch week 14, which leads us to our next segment, the Cut the Breaks Pick'em Challenge, presented by Royal Retros.
Because I cut the brakes! Wild card, bitches! Yeah! What?
And here are our picks for the Cut the Breaks Pick'em Challenge in week 14. I have the Buccaneers, the Browns, and the Bears. Do you notice the theme here? Alliteration. Triple B.
Yeah.
I got the Bucks pick. I got the Bucks beating the Saints. I got the Browns beating the Titans. And my upset pick is the Bears. The Bears over the Packers at Lambeau.
I almost picked that, Ryan, but I got burned by the Bears. I've been burned by them.
I don't think I have, but I'll talk about the standings in just a moment. Dustin, on the meanwhile, he's still rolling with those Broncos. I think the Broncos might be the one team he's picked the most. I'll do some analytics at the end of the season for the Cut the Breaks Pick'em Challenge. But he's rolling with the Broncos to beat the Raiders. He's got the Rams beating the Cardinals, and his upset pick, he's got the Jaguars beating the Colts. And I think this game's in Indy, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check real quick. Nope, it's in Jacksonville.
Okay.
Jacksonville, Indy is a 1.5 point favorite in that game. So I'll give it to you. But yes, let's cut the breaks pick'em challenge. I did the calculations yesterday on my day off, and I'm actually up by 7.
Oh man,
28-21.
I'm getting crushed.
But you've had multiple weeks of clean sweeps, my friend. So
yeah.
That's what's keeping you in it. But my clean sweep last week put me up ahead. So
I'm
up. So with 4 weeks to go, including this week, actually I would say 5 weeks to go, including this week, I have a 7-point lead in the standings. So
man, that's big. And I just know Uncle Al is as upset as me that Giants pick did not pan out against the Broncos. I picked them to beat the Broncos, and it almost happened. But man, I just kind of lost my train of thought there. I had something to say. Oh yeah, I do have a question though, Ryan. You said that game, the Jacksonville game, it's in Jacksonville. Where's that? Yes. What county is that located in?
Oh, I know what county that's located in. Hang on one second. Where is it? There it is. There's the county that Jacksonville is located in.
Duval.
It's never getting old.
No, we're
Never
going to
live
use
that
that for
down.
5 years.
Never gonna live that down. That, ladies and gentlemen, is our Cut the Brakes Pick'em challenge for week 14.
Because I cut the brakes! Wild card, bitches! Yeah! What?
Wonko chiming in saying Bengals would have been my Cut the Brakes pick, but Dustin covered that base well. Hey, providing some insight on that game of the game we're looking at tomorrow for between the Bills and the Bengals. All right, we're going to move along to our last segment of the night, which is our favorite athletes to wear the number 89. I'm gonna hand it over to my co-host. I'm pretty sure that he has himself a great pick for number 89 for his favorite number 89.
Oh man, well, so did you, Ryan. It's a name that I did not expect to see. I had forgotten about when I read the rundown, but man, I can't wait for you to talk more about your pick. But first, I got to talk about it, and you need the button for this one. A lot of people probably knew I was going this route.
Here we go. Homer alert!
Man, could my favorite 89 be anybody other than Angry Doug Baldwin?
Oh.
The answer is, of course, no. All right. Doug Baldwin, he only played 8 years in the NFL. You got to keep that in mind when you start looking at his numbers. He only played 8 years. That's a short career. His career was cut short by an accumulation of injuries, unfortunately. He was kind of forced to retire. He is a two-time Pro Bowler. He got into the Pro Bowl 1 year as a replacement. He is a one-time Super Bowl champ. But to me, Ryan, Doug Baldwin had the feel of, and stick with me here, but he reminded me of Allen Iverson, because Allen Iverson, although Doug Baldwin, I'm not sitting here and saying that Doug Baldwin talent-wise is on the level with Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson's a Hall of Famer and one of the greatest basketball players ever. But Allen Iverson played with a massive chip on his shoulder, and he played with reckless abandon. And that is how Doug Baldwin played the game as well. Doug Baldwin, he has the nickname Angry Doug for a reason. He was considered undersized at Stanford. He was coached by Jim Harbaugh when he was with the Cardinal there. But he always seemed to be there when Russ needed him. Early in his career, he was wearing 15, and he was a returner. And he was kind of trying to find his spot on the team, but eventually he developed what seemed to be an almost otherworldly connection with Russell Wilson. He would constantly come back to the ball when Russell Wilson was running for his life back there, and that's what a quarterback needs. They need a receiver that would come back to the ball, and Russ learned to look for Doug on third down. There's no doubting that, because he would always throw to Doug. When they needed a big catch, Doug Baldwin would come up with it to extend the drives. In 123 career games, he had 493 receptions, 6,563 receiving yards, and 49 touchdowns. He is third all time in Seahawks history with receptions. And keep in mind, his career was only 8 years. He was signed as an undrafted free agent in 2011. He became the first undrafted rookie free agent to lead his team in reception and yards receiving since the AFL NFL merger. He did that his rookie season. He was forced to retire due to injuries, as I mentioned earlier, after a failed physical designation in 2019. Had to announce it on Twitter. It was a sad day for every Seahawk fan. And if you want to wonder how he got the name Angry Doug, look up some of his highlights, but also before the Super Bowl against the Broncos, Chris Carter called out the Seahawk receiving corps and called them pedestrian. And I won't repeat some of what Doug said in response after the game, but go look up the clip. He was none too happy about that. So, and he became the Seahawks leading receiver after Percy Harvin was traded to the Jets. Doug Baldwin became their number one. before DK got there, before any of that. Doug went from undrafted free agent to number one wide receiver on a Super Bowl contending team, because that's what the Seahawks were for a lot of the years that he was there. So shout out to you, Doug. I wish you could have played longer.
Before I give my number 89, Wonko timing in saying, "Stupid Aaron Donald and stupid awesomeness," pouting emoji. I forgot where that came. I don't know where that came from, but he wore 99, sir, not 89. But it was probably referenced to something else. But anyhow, all right, we gotta break out the button again. Homer alert! For my number 89, I chose Alexander Mogilny.
Oh man, I was so it brought a smile to my face when I was prepping for the show, Ryan.
So Alexander Mogilny drafted at 89th overall in the 1988 NHL entry draft by the Buffalo Sabres, and was the first Soviet player to defect to play in North America. First game on October 5th, 1989. Alexander Mogilny scored 20 seconds in his first game at the age of 20 in the Sabres' 20th season in the National Hockey League. Would wind up finishing with 15 goals and 28 assists in 65 games that year, but it was kind of a precursor of things to come. And by the way, the only reason why he didn't play more games, he had a fear of flying.
Mm. Okay.
Which he had to get over in his time in the NHL. But as a rookie, he did not like flying, so he didn't play in that many games. But going further after that season, Mogilny's prowess as an explosive scorer became prevalent the next two seasons, leading up to his pairing with Pat LaFontaine in the 1992-93 season. Rest in peace, Rick Jenneret. 1992-1993, he led the league in goals with 76 goals scored, including 11 game-winning goals, scoring 127 points. Did not lead the league in scoring that year. He actually finished 7th in the league with 76 goals and 51 assists. It was a peak era. It was peak NHL, because that season alone, 1992-1993, 21 players reached the 100-point plateau, and 14 players scored 50 or more. It has not been duplicated since. It may not ever be duplicated ever again.
Wow.
But he spent 2 more seasons in Buffalo before being traded to Vancouver because the Sabres could not pay him, LaFontaine, and Dominik Hasek at the same time. This was pre-salary cap era. So they traded him in 1995 for Michael Pekka, Mike Wilson, and the Canucks' first-round pick in 1996, which would eventually be Jay McKee. Playing Toronto for 4.5 seasons, he reached 107 points in his first season with the Canucks in 1995 and 1996. Unfortunately, didn't get a chance to play with Pavel Bure a whole lot. Apparently, they liked playing opposite wing of each other. So he didn't. So he was trying to be a pairing with Pavel Bure. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for either of them. Bure would wind up going to the Florida Panthers and later the New York Islanders. And then in 2000, at the trade deadline, he was traded to my New Jersey Devils for Brendan Morrison and Dennis Peterson, helped the Devils win their second Stanley Cup and becoming a member of the Triple Gold Club. The Triple Gold Club being you won an Olympic gold medal, you won a World Championship, and you won a Stanley Cup. So he won a gold medal in 1988 with the Soviet Union, won a World Championship in 1989 with the Soviet Union, and then he won a Stanley Cup in 2000. I don't think he was in the 98 team in Nagano with Russia. I can't remember if he was or not. He was on the team again in 2000, 2001. He was finishing second on the team with 83 points, but the Devils would fail to win the Stanley Cup to repeat as Stanley Cup winner. Devils let him sign with Toronto in 2001, 2002, spent 3 seasons with the Maple Leafs. He won the Lady Byng Award in 2003 for gentlemanly play. He signed back with the New Jersey Devils in 2005 after the lockout season. He did not play anywhere in the lockout season. Some players went home. Some players played abroad. He did not go anywhere because he didn't play anywhere because he was still recovering from hip surgery, but he wound up back in New Jersey for 2005, 2006, and was actually demoted for part of the season for salary cap reasons. So he played part of his season in 2005, 2006 with the Albany River Rats.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Played 19 games, scored 4 goals and 10 assists, and was famous for this story. I don't know if it's true. I hope it is because it's hysterical. So he and Coach Robbie Fatorik of the River Rats I don't say didn't see eye to eye, but he asked Robbie Fatorik what the fine was for missing practice. Robbie Fatorik told him $1,000. The next day, he comes back with a duffel bag filled with $50,000 and says, "I'm not coming to a single practice."
Oh, man.
Again, I don't know if this story is true. I guess it is true. I'll have to confirm it, but in Albany hockey circles, it's being told as a legendary story.
Oh, man.
He retired after the 2006-2007. He was on a long-term IR for that season because he failed to, unfortunately, just like Doug Baldwin, failed physical designation and spent 2006-2007 on the long-term IR, would retire after that season. And it's disappointing for him because he was injury prone throughout his career, which was unfortunate. Yeah. So, but he still finished with 990 goals. 990 career games. This is regular season stats. 990 career regular season games, 473 goals, 559 assists, 1,032 points. And he was finally, justice was served this year. He was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Well deserved. I mean, I liked watching Alexander Mogilny play, and he just seemed like Ryan. And I didn't realize he started playing so young, but it would explain because I felt like he was around forever. I mean, where do I most know him? It's from video games, because I remember, various video games. But I'm talking like I was playing video games in '95, and it'd be like Mogilny, and then he was still playing in 2004. I'm like, this is amazing. But I looked it up for you, Ryan. Team Russia, you were right. 98 in Nagano. He was not on that team.
That's what I thought.
It was, and it could be. Who knows if it was like a dream team situation? Bure was on that team, Pavel Bure. So maybe they didn't want to pair them up again. But
yeah, that was
who else?
That was the first year that NHL players could play in the Winter Olympics.
Oh, wow. Okay. Piece of Encyclopedia Britannica strikes again. But who else was on Team Russia in 98 in Nagano? It's one of your previous picks, Ryan. And his name also starts with an A. But it is not Alexander. It's Alexei. You picked him.
Yashin.
Oh, yes, that's right. Alexei Yashin.
Picked him a few episodes ago, and next week is 90. So, I have so as a warning, I have a quasi homer alert.
Okay,
for that one because there's a loose connection of this player to the Albany area.
Oh, nice. All right.
Wonko asking, hockey is the one with the ice bats, right? Although a funny story, Wonko, on RoyalRetros.com, there is retro gear for the Central Hockey League, and there was a team called the Austin Ice Bats, and they sell their gear.
I'm going to be picking Ryan up some sort of gear, barring a miracle comeback here.
Oh, goodness. All right. Well, we're going to get out of here. Thank you so much for joining us on the special Saturday night edition of No Credentials Required. Just want to remind you before we leave to follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Just search No Credentials Required. You can also find our other podcasts and written articles at bellyupsports.com. On the podcast side, you can hit that subscribe button, and you can find that podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, and our home, which is on Podbean, Freshly Brewed Podcasts. Hit that notification bell on Twitter and on YouTube so you know when the shows go live, when there's general show announcements, and when clips of the show go up. We'll be back at our usual time on Tuesday, which is 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. I'll be here. Dustin, unfortunately, will be traveling. So either we're going to make a decision to record Monday or Wednesday, or I'm going to take a load off his shoulders and bring in a special guest for Tuesday. So we'll discuss in the green room after the show.
Yeah.
But I'll be back on Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. and Dustin will be back on next Saturday show at 10 a.m. Eastern. But thank you for joining us on No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. For Dustin Henry, I'm Ryan McCarthy. Thanks for joining us on this special Saturday night edition. We'll be back on Tuesday. Thanks for joining us. And enjoy the weekend. Have a safe weekend. Enjoy the football, whether you're watching college or you're watching the pros. Either way, it's all good. But be back here on Tuesday where we talk about Week 14 in the NFL. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great night. Have a safe and happy weekend.
Good night, everybody.